Joe,
Yeah.
you're up, brother.
All right. Now, finishing where I left off, after the state police had finished administering some payback by making me look foolish by beating me while I was handcuffed, they gathered around and that's what I was doing in Mexico. During this time, I had been here in the fatherland for just under 2 years. While I was in Mexicali, during the 8 months that I was there, family and friends had frequently visited with me and at one point informed me that my case on several occasions had aired on America's Most Wanted, and that I was now on the FBI's wanted list. Now here I find myself being questioned and treated like a suspect when in fact I was the victim. I had just been brutally beaten twice within the past hour and a half, and I was drenched in my own.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I was drenched in my own blood and made to feel like the scorn to all onlookers. Afterwards, they drove us to downtown Guadalajara to a judicial precinct. Upon arriving there, I was told to get off the pickup truck. The beating that they had given me took a toll on my body, and at that moment, I tried getting up. Every muscle spasmed and tensed up on me. I was in pain. I could barely move, and it was then that two officers picked me up and helped to set my feet on the street pavement. Entering the jail, we were put in separate cells, and within a few minutes, they were opening the doors to escort us to an interrogation room where the chief of the state police had been waiting. This dude was not cordial at all. He was hostile, his voice was sharp, and he began pounding his fist on the desk, demanding for one of us to confess. Now, in Mexico, the way they do things over there is, they, whether you're guilty or not, they beat a confession out of you, so that's how they get their cases settled. So during the interrogation, I had asked to use the restroom, so the chief tells the escorting officer who is standing by to take me to relieve myself. As he escorts me to the restroom, and as I'm standing there at the doorway, he reaches in and flicks the light on, then looks at me with a sinister grin on his face and tells me in a threatening tone, "You better not flush it." The restroom,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
yeah, the restroom was filthy. Feces and urine were almost to the brim of the toilet bowl. There was muck on the floor and on the sides of the bowl, and it smelled badly. And as I stood there looking into the mirror, all I could hear echoing in my head is this guy telling me that I better not flush the toilet. It was at this moment that I knew I was going to be tortured by having my head dunked in this feces and urine-filled toilet bowl. I had already been served the main course earlier that night in the form of two brutal beatings, and now, because I wouldn't confess to a crime, I was now about to experience and taste the dessert that these cops had to offer. I find myself in a serious dilemma, and as I stood there looking into the mirror, I knew with everything that I had within me that I wouldn't be able to handle that type of humiliating torture. So I splashed some water on my face and then opened the restroom door. Before I had stepped out, the officer that had escorted me pushed me to the side and having a look, asked if I had flushed the toilet. Once back in the interrogation room, I sat back down next to Alfred, and immediately the chief began with an angry outburst that someone needed to confess or else. I had gone to the restroom for the purpose of relieving myself, but with the contents already in the bowl, I decided to pass on my contribution. And now, figuratively speaking, I was contemplating pissing my pants by confessing to a crime. A few minutes had passed when the chief finally got fed up with us and told the officer who was standing by to take us away. That's when Alfred began pleading with them. I knew what take them away meant, and seeing Alfred as scared as he was, that was when I stood to my feet and said that it was me. I did it. You know, that's when the chief looked at me and said, "Okay, so you stabbed both those guys. All of this could have been avoided if you had confessed earlier." And he told the officer standing by to take us back to our cells. I was now experiencing deja vu during the time that I had been getting jumped. I was being hit from all sides by five dudes. So I pulled out my blade and swung wildly to get them off me. I was fighting for my life. I had no idea that I had stabbed two dudes, and however you look at it, I was outnumbered, and yet they somehow, turn it around, and once again, I'm the aggressor. Back in the cell, I was so tired that I fell asleep on the concrete slab that was the bunk. I don't know how long I was out, asleep, but I woke up quickly when the cell door opened and someone walked in. Being that I was still, with my guard up, I tried getting to my feet, but only managed to prep myself up with one arm. They had put some youngster in there with me, and after looking me over, he asked me what happened to me, and then I asked what part of Califas are you from. I responded, is it that obvious? You know, we kind of chuckled about it. You know, we began engaging in a conversation when a tier tender was walking the tier, passing out water. So, you know, this youngster, you know, managed to get me about 4 cups of water, you know, and gave me an issue. I chugged the cup down, and the rest I used to wash myself up. You know, this is when I began examining all my wounds. My whole right arm from my wrist to my elbow was swollen. You know, my elbow had a deep gash. My right eye was stitched and also swollen. I had cuts all over my head. My lip on my right side was cut right through to the gum. My upper lip was gashed open. And my whole body hurt. And when I tried taking off my blood-stained shirt, you know, I felt pain on my upper back. As I tried to pull it over my shoulders, that's when this youngster told me that I had a blood spot on right there on my upper back area. And I finally managed to take my shirt off, and that's when there was a you know, a pretty good sized hole right there on my upper back where, you know, I had been stabbed and didn't even realize it. You know, so, you know, we sat there talking, and I gave this youngster a phone number, you know, to call some people just to let them know that I had been right there, you know, in the jail. And he kind of gave me the rundown on how the whole system functions, and basically told me that after 72 hours, if they don't release me, I was going to be shipped off to the main prison over there in Puente Grande.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All right, hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to have to cut it right there. You know, that somebody else is in line for their phone time, and Puente Grande is where I left off, you know, being shipped to Puente Grande, you know, so I'm going to give you a call in a couple of days, you know. So, hey, hopefully you could put that together and, you know, make it look good for me, huh?
Oh, no, I'll edit it. Don't trip. I'll get it the way that you want it. I'll let them know this is going to be a short one, but it's all good, homie.
All right, all right.
And
Yeah,
take
I'll
your
talk to you
time,
next
bro.
time around then, huh?
Okay, all right. So take your time, too, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all
good,
right,
homie.
all right.
All right,
Hey,
bro.
gracias, huh?
Hey, likewise, homie. All right.
All right.